Welcome back, everybody. I am CD3 Daddy,
And I am C3DG Minecraft.
and today we are talking kelp. If you saw our Duck V1 Kelp Farm, you will know that we have added farms side by side to make a total of 4 modules, which produces 96 kelp per second. Now, we had a lot of comments, and we explained this in the video, but you can double pulse these dispensers to make the kelp produce a lot faster. Since most of you are building this design for dried kelp blocks, the bottleneck is not the speed of the farm, it is how many smokers you have. However, we do have a lot of requests for our double pulse farm, so today we are going to show you the Duck V2 Kelp Farm. Today's build border is going to be 22 by 13. In the first video, we had a 13 by 36 build border area. This farm is going to produce the exact same rates as the much larger footprint. We are going to have to build it up a little higher, but you will have the same rates if that is what you're wanting. All right, we are going to hop down to the corner of our border facing the length side, and we're going to just start right off at the corner, counting up 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. On the 5th block, we are going to count over 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to place a block down as our starting point. Now, because the farm is an exact mirror image, Colin is going to build one side, I'm going to build the other side. If you did not start from a build border, you are going to have 5 blocks, or 5 gaps, in between your starting points. You're going to grab your piston, and you're going to place a piston facing the direction of the farm that you are going to build. And then we're going to add redstone torches all the way to the end. We're going to go 12 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now, the reason we are using redstone torches is they can power a solid block above it. So add 12 solid blocks above it. One of the comments was redstone blocks are expensive. If you wanted to build with redstone blocks, which is what we still do, you can replace the redstone torch and the solid block with 12 redstone blocks, but this works exactly the same. Go ahead and grab your dispensers, and you are going to place 12 dispensers on top of your solid blocks. Opposite of your piston, off the last dispenser, we're going to place a note block. We are going to place an observer. Turn around, and underneath your observer, we're going to place a piston. And then on the back of your observer, we're going to place a solid block. And underneath that solid block, we're going to place a note block. Just like that. Just like on the V1, we are going to build a platform in front of our dispensers. So starting at either end, go ahead and add 2 blocks in front of each dispenser. It'll be a 2 by 12 platform. And that should leave you with a 1 block gap in the middle. On both sides, one starting at the note block and the other starting at our pistons, we are going to actually add a solid block on top of our pistons. We are going to make a barrier, so build towards the opposite side. And we're going to do this on both sides. So that will be 7 blocks in total. The next step is to add our clock. We are going to hop down to the starting point of our farm, the side opposite of our observers and note blocks. We are going to build out 2 blocks off of your piston on both sides, and then we are going to connect it. Now this next part is going to be standalone. We're going to have 1 clock for the entire farm, and the way we're going to do that is pick a side, it doesn't matter which one, and we are going to build a 3 by 3 platform all the way to the border. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, just like that. Again, it doesn't matter which side you build it on. You could have built it over here, but it just needs to be a 3 by 3 platform right up against the corner of your build border. All right, this is going to be a simple comparator clock. We are going to place a comparator on that middle row of your 3 by 3 platform, all the way at the corner of your build border. We are going to place a repeater on a 4 tick into the side of your comparator. And then we are going to wrap redstone dust all the way around to the output of the comparator and the input of the repeater. Place that comparator in subtract mode, and then we're going to run the redstone dust all the way to the opposite side to our second farm. Place a lever behind your comparator and flip it on to test the clock. It should be pulsing every 5 redstone ticks. It is working, so we're going to turn it off. And now the rest of it is going to be a mirror. So Colin, if you grab that side, I'll grab this side. We are going to place an observer on the block behind the piston, looking at that redstone dust. On top of that observer, we're going to hop up and place an observer looking at the redstone dust in front of it. The output should be facing up. If it is not, you have done something wrong. So go ahead and make sure that your face is looking at that redstone dust. And then we are going to build a 3x3 platform on the observer. We are going to start with 1 block and we're going to build towards our build border. And then we're going to go to the left and to the right of the observer. Just like that. Alright, now this is again going to be a mirror image. Make sure you are on the block above your observer. This does need to be a solid block, so keep that in mind. We're going to place a dropper on top of the solid block above your observer, facing your build border. So they should be facing away from each other. Grab a hopper and place it into the face of your dropper. Grab your comparators and place one in front of the dropper and one in front of the hopper. We will explain this a little bit more as we go, but we're going to grab some solid blocks and place them in front of the comparators, just like that. In front of the dropper on the solid block, we are going to place a redstone torch. On the second block, we're going to place redstone dust. And in the side of the second block, we're going to place another redstone torch. Next, we're going to grab ourselves a target block, and we're going to place it right next to our hopper and put redstone dust between the torch and the target block. If you are following along, your right and your left build should look like this, and what we are building is a simple dropper counter. We are going to add 4 items in our dropper. So open up your dropper and place 4 stackable items. They do need to be stackable. They cannot be items like shulker boxes or armor, and they have to be the same type of stackable item. So you can't have 2 kelp and 2 comparators. They have to be the same type of item. 4 in each dropper. And you will see that the redstone torch in front of the dropper is now off, which means the redstone torch on the side of the block is now on, locking our hopper. And we will explain more about the counter as we go. On the back of your target block facing your farm, we're going to place another redstone torch. And that should be burned out. Hop on your farm, grab yourself an observer, and place it looking into that burned out torch. And again, we're going to do the same thing on both sides. Grab yourself some solid blocks. Starting underneath the observer, we're going to build a row of solid blocks all the way until we reach the outer barrier above our note block. And then we're going to wrap it towards that barrier until you have a structure that looks like this. Alright, hop back up on your platform. We are going to place 1 piston behind each dispenser on that solid block. And we're going to do that on both sides. That is going to be our harvesting mechanism, and it is 1 block above so we don't destroy our source kelp plant. Before you hop down, you are going to build a wall on top of your pistons, 4 blocks tall. This can be any block of choice. And you're going to do this all the way down. Alright, hop back down behind your wall and add redstone dust in front of the observer all the way down until you get to the last block before the turn. You should have a redstone dust behind each piston. So 12 pieces of redstone dust. All right, go ahead and hop down off of your wall and do the same thing underneath your pistons. We're going to add 1 block to contain all of the water for our kelp plants. Making sure that you leave your dispensers exposed so we can add hoppers into them for bone meal. All right, your farm should look like this. That's the wings of our bird. They are the walls that will contain the water when we grow our kelp. So we are also going to build up the walls in front. Now you can wait to do this until after or right before you put your water in, so you can still get in and out of your farm easily. But we're going to go ahead and do that now. We're just going to build it up to the same height as our back walls. Technically, only the first 2 blocks are required. The outer sides can be left lower if you want to, but we are always conscientious of a lossless farm, and this just makes sure that no kelp wanders off. Go ahead and hop inside of your farm, and we are going to add an interior wall, but it's going to be 4 blocks tall with a gap at the bottom and a gap at the top. So go to the side where you just placed your glass. We're building with glass just so we can see in. That's any block of choice. And then build a 4 block tall wall with a 1 block gap below and above. All right, now we went ahead and left a 1 block gap for our wall. We're going to fill this out in a minute. But before we do that, we are going to add our fence gates to keep the water contained up top so we don't wash out our redstone torches. So add fence gates just like in the V1 between the 2 modules. All the way down, and we are going to leave them closed. This will keep the kelp from flinging across and bouncing back and forth and get them in your storage or your smokers quicker. All right, with the fence gates in the middle, we are going to actually block ourselves in, finishing off our wall, leaving that gap at the bottom and a gap on top. Grab a bucket of water, place it in the corner. Actually, I don't know why I came to this side. I could have done there, but add a bucket of water on that top block, swim up to the top, and then we're going to cap off the top of it by adding a block directly above, just like this. And before we add the rest of our water, we're going to grab our fence gates. Bro. All right, now before we add the rest of our water, so we added a block on top, and I'll explain why I did that in a second. But we are going to do the same thing up top that we did at the bottom. We are going to add fence gates, but we do need to add these on both sides. So Colin will do his side, I will do mine. It's going to be 1 block away. Make sure the gate is oriented towards you. This one is especially important because if you don't do it this way, if you use signs or use open fence gates or even fence gates in the other direction, the kelp will flow off and some of it will land on top of the bottom fence gates. So just keep that in mind when you're building this. All right, we are ready to add the rest of our water. We are going to add 1 block of water at the top of each. Whoop. And that is a good example as to why I block off the top first. We're going to add a block of water, or a bucket of water, on each block. just like this. All right, it was a one bucket of water on each block. The reason I do that is when you're placing the water, it will float you up, and if you are placing water too rapidly, inevitably you will place water on the back of your wall. It'll flow down, wipe out your redstone dust, wipe out your redstone torches. So if you do it in the order we did it, that should help keep your base safe. All right, now the last thing we're going to do while we are up on top of the farm is I'm just going to cap off the top of it to make it look nice. Not required, just an aesthetic choice. All right, hopefully you grabbed your kelp before you went on top of your farm, because now we are going to hop down and we are going to place 1 kelp on top of each dispenser. All right, once you have planted the kelp on each dispenser on both sides, go ahead and open one of those fence gates and drop down. Make sure that you close it. It is time to build our water stream. Now, because the farm is being pulsed on both sides by this solid block, you can run the kelp out if you dig down, if you need to in your base. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it opposite of my lever, and I'm going to do that by building down 2 blocks behind my fence gate, and then I'm going to grab some packed ice. Now, I will call out when you actually need packed ice. I use it just to show that it is a water stream. We actually use it in Donut as well, but we're going to do 7 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It doesn't add anything using packed ice here because the whole thing is going to be flowing water. This is just an aesthetic choice. We're also going to place packed ice on the ground all the way until we get to the end of our farm, just like that. And because we have a gap here, we want to protect those redstone torches. We're going to build 1 block down all the way to the end of the farm, just like that. Alright, when you get to the very end of your farm, I'm going to dig out the last 3 blocks in my build area. I'm going to place 2 pieces of packed ice, and then Colin's going to place some soul sand. Go ahead and finish off your barrier, and you shouldn't have any problems here, but I'm just going to build it up too high. Plus, I think it looks nicer. And then make your way back into your farm with a bucket of water. Place a bucket of water right on that back piece of packed ice. Water flows a maximum distance of 8 blocks, so because we placed 7, it is going to drop down and continue flowing until we get to the end of our farm. At this point, the water system is going to be completely up to you, depending on whether you're sending it to a shulker loader, a storage system, or a smoker array. We are just going to do a simple bubble column to demonstrate, so this part is going to be entirely up to you. Alright, we added a water stream for our bone meal. To prepare, we added 2 hoppers into our dispensers, and the water stream, we do have a throwing platform which will align on the back wall, and we just we ran the water every 4 blocks with a top slab. In the V1 we used fence gates, but because we have redstone on top, that will always close the fence gates when the redstone deactivates. So you do have to use something that is not going to open and close and block your bone meal. And we just wrapped it around to both sides. If you have any questions about this, you can refer back to the V1 video where we explain it a little bit more in depth. And if you have questions, feel free to join our Discord and reach out to us. There will be a schematic in our Discord, so more on that later. Alright, Colin, if you want to go ahead and flip on the farm, we will watch it in action. And there we go. Just like on the original V1, the farm is going to produce multiple kelp per pulse. Because we have the dropper, alright, the reason that we have that dropper is it is counting all the pulses for the dispensers. This allows our kelp to grow to its full height before being harvested, which just means that it will harvest much faster. Now, I did slightly fib. I said this will be the exact same as the 2 modules that we built on the V1, which is 48 kelp plants. At the same rate, this is technically only as fast as a 47 plant farm, and that's because the first kelp plant on both sides is not getting the same double pulse because the torch is only illuminating every other cycle. But all of the other dispensers are being double pulsed, so the rates are going to be virtually identical. Alright, now as you can see with the farm off, there is no kelp that will get stuck because we have a dual exit The bulk of it will be exiting on the top, and anything below the piston will be exiting at the bottom. This farm can be left on passively, so the kelp will grow. As you can see, the kelp will grow passively even when you run out of bone meal, so it is safe and recommended to leave the farm running. And because we are pulsing every 4 cycles, your kelp will actually have a higher chance at growing naturally, so this farm can be left on 24/7. All right, to wrap things up, now I know somebody is going to ask me about this. Why do we have 2 dropper counters? The reason is we're preparing for a bone meal crafter that is going to add bone meal in the back of the farm and split both left and right. You could, if you didn't want to worry about those droppers being out of sync, you can run a line of solid blocks and replace the redstone torch with a line of redstone dust. That will work as well. However, if you build it this way, it will prepare for the next video, which will be adding a bone meal crafter into the back of your farm. And that wraps up another video. I'm CD3 Daddy.
And I'm C3DG Minecraft.
And we hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for all the comments, letting us know that you wanted to see this video. It was a blast building. This video is the direct result of one of the comments that we had on YouTube, so it is very important to us when you comment. If you have suggestions or you have recommendations, please don't hesitate to comment. Like this video if it helped you or you plan on building it, and subscribe. It's just one click of a button and it helps us out tremendously. We do have a Discord where this schematic will be uploaded very soon, so we hope to see you there.